about you cannot have development without democracy. And he wrote articles upon articles in it, in the Thunder and in Straight Talk in the Mirror. So on any given, when he took government, he realized, and in one of the quotations, he said he will not substantially change. Quotation from Forbidden Freedom, I think Nia spoke about it. He wouldn't change much, but youthful exuberance, some of the things that he would have done out of youthful exuberance, he would not have done it now. And you saw that in his life, because he moved from what people accuse him of, communism, etc., to when he took government, he was speaking about the construction of a national democratic state, where there is a place for the rule of law. And actually, at the Independence Conference, Jagan's most significant contribution to the Constitution at the time was to get those who were framing the Constitution in Westminster to adopt into it the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which were recently declared by the United Nations, into the Guyana Constitution at the time as our fundamental rights and freedom. There's a significant contribution that Cheddi Jagan made. And as I'm on that legal issue, it is Jagan who, and it's amazing how this man was able to recognize these things. We inherited a very complex land law system in Guyana, governed by a system called ownership by transport, which is a Roman Dutch system. It's complex in the sense that it's difficult to pass title. Now, when the workers were being moved from the lodges into the plant, from the lodges to the villages, they had to, for them to get land from, and that's when he established the Sugar Welfare Fund, actually. There's another thing we can talk about for another 15, 20 minutes. And he brought the Waddington Commission here to bring out all these things. But let me get back to the point. The point I want to make is that he recognized the importance of freehold title. He recognized that the system that we had in Guyana couldn't deliver titles to people quickly, because there were so many hundreds of people who were moving out of the plantation to the newly created villages. And the system, the legal system, was too slow, because transport takes 3 months to pass. There's a legal requirement, it has to be advertised in the official gazette. Another important thing also is that to get a transport on a mortgage is a very difficult exercise. It also has to be advertised. And therefore, those things were slowing down economic progress in the country, slowing down the empowerment of the masses. And Jagan introduced into Guyana the certificate of registration system, where you can now also own land by certificate of title. It's called the registration system of ownership. And he brought that system all the way from New Zealand and Australia, because England didn't have it. So at the time, and I was talking to Dr. Ram Sahai, and Ram Sahai helped him in getting all of that done. But the idea, Ram Sahai told me, and he's writing a book, and a lot of things will come out in that book. Ram Sahai told me that it is Dr. Jagan. This man was reading, I don't know where he was getting the material to read, but he was reading anything that he could have been read at the time. Where he was getting this information from, I don't know. He knew about a system of ownership that made it possible to pass title from one person to another in 2 or 3 days, as opposed to 4 months, as was the law in Guyana. And he brought that statute and introduced it as an ordinance at the time. We were not independent. And it is during that period also that he saw what was going on with the rice farmers, the exploitation that was taking place in the rice industry, where the millers and the farmers, the owners of the land, were all part of this major organization that I spoke about, the British Guiana, East Indian Association, etc. And nobody was protecting the farmers. And one of the first things that he advocated for in the 1946 Legislative Assembly, was to get the Rice Farmers Security of Tenure Act piloted through that assembly. And it is against that backdrop that he formed the Rice Producers Association. And also he established the Rice Marketing Board, and he passed a law also to ensure that there were equal representation, or they were, in fact, no, they were biased representation on the board in favor of rice farmers and rice producers, because you had elected representatives on the board that were not representing the interests of the farmers. I mean, there are so many things that we can say about Dr. Jagan, but clearly he was a man way ahead of his time. And in '92, when he took government, it is really, really unfortunate that he didn't, you know, he took government so late, that he didn't get to do so much that he wanted to do. I wrote a long article recently on the improvements that he made to the Constitution, that were made to the Constitution by an initiative started by him, of course, but he didn't get to complete it. So Dr. Jagan, whether he was whether you want to call him a communist, he was a communist who always was pro-people, pro-poverty. He was pro-business, anti-poverty, pro-business, but against exploitation of workers. So yes, you can have foreign investments. What was his position on foreign investment? You can have foreign investments, but they must not be to the detriment of the local people. Jagan would have never ever tolerated an oil contract like the one foisted upon this nation right now. So there are so many glimpses of Dr. Jagan that we can speak about, but time will not permit. But certainly I want to conclude by saying that Jagan was a man that was way, way ahead of his time. And I would encourage the IAC to hold a symposium, a proper symposium, 1 hour, 1 day, where we can speak about Jagan, and we can present papers and so on about the life and contribution of Jagan. Thank you very much.